Welcome to the season finale of Go M.A.D. Today we take a look back at Season 1 and share some of our favorite moments. Plus, if you've ever wondered who's the best Galaga player among us, well, you'll wonder no more. The good news is you don't have to wait very long for Season 2 of Go M.A.D. We'll be starting up in late September with more madness. Until then, leave a rating or leave a review to help us get the word out. Ready? Let's go M.A.D.
Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of Go M.A.D. with Doug and Brad. I am so glad to be back in the studio because we have recorded in an RV. We've been bouncing all over the place, traveled with the On Eagles Wings team. It has been an amazing summer, but here we are with Doug and Jesse and Brad back here in the studio.
Hey.
This does feel good.
It does, doesn't it?
Feel great, man.
I want you guys to know, if you could see, I think I mentioned it on that episode, but if you could have seen the way we rigged this rental RV to be able to record, it was pretty amazing. But so if you're wondering, hey, what are they talking about today? Here's the deal. We are going to take a look back. We have done 20 episodes of Go M.A.D. This is number 21.
How is that possible? Seriously, I can't believe it's been that much.
It goes fast.
We're finishing our first season. Is that what you're telling me?
We are. We are wrapping up season 1.
Have we been renewed? Have we been renewed? Is there going to be a season 2? Have you signed your contract yet? I still haven't seen one.
What does it take to get your podcast canceled? I don't know. But
I still haven't seen mine. I think I'm still being offered $0 to
Jesse,
do it
you're
next year. Is that right?
Producer Jesse, have we been renewed? Are we?
You know what? We'll get back. I'll get back to you on that.
Can your people get what my people is?
My people is me.
My people is my 10-year-old Sam. So he answers my cell phone sometimes just to let him know, and I'm sure he'll get me the message.
But I would say stick with us, because this is going to be just kind of a look back a little bit today, and we're going to really still focus in. We're all about trying to help each other here and our listeners make a difference. So our prayer is that what we talk about today will be just that you will be encouraged once again to make a difference where you're at.
It's all about the ambassadorship. It's one of my favorite scriptures in the Word. I talk about it with my sons all the time, that we are Christ's ambassador, as if God is making his appeal through you. There's a plan A for getting the gospel, for getting the hope of Jesus out to the people you love. You are the plan A. There is no plan B. When we read the Great Commission, we know that we're supposed to be sharing the hope that we have, but we're so excited about how can we help the people that we spend some time with here on this podcast, just in things we've learned, and we love hearing back from you. We've gotten ideas for what we're going to talk about from you guys. What are practical steps that we can take, regardless of what group of people you're talking about, whether you're 13 years old or 38 years old or 103 years old? What can you do with your classmate, with the person you work with, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad? And we try to cover all of that. And I'll tell you, I've loved these 20 episodes. It's gone fast, but I'm excited to do you ready for this? 4 syllables this early in the day. Retrospective. I looked it up. It's a real word.
Wow, it's a real word. But I have a question for you guys first. I don't know why, but the first thing that went through my head was a 103-year-old, and you said classmate, and I was just like, wow, that is someone that is committed. They are.
Some people get held back, Brad.
They're on their You're making them
feel bad.
So, all right, here we go. Before we dive into a little look back, let's look just a couple weeks ago. You guys, I don't know if you remember, but elementary school, high school, a lot of times the first thing the teacher would have you do is write an essay on your favorite thing. What did you do with your summer? I'm just curious, what's one highlight for you guys from the summer, whether it's personal, something that you're involved with ministry-wise, whatever it is. One highlight from the summer.
Cheering.
Huh.
Not just regular cheering. You asked me this a little earlier. You made me think about some highlights from your summer. I tried to think of something really deep. My mind didn't really go there, at least initially. So, but I thought about, you know what's really ringing in my ears from this year is the cheering of my children for me. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So we went to this arcade that's kind of an old school arcade. You know the video games these days. If you've ever tried to play any of these, I don't know how they figure them out. They've got 84 buttons. You've got to know 1,000 different combinations to even just jump or something. My children love playing these with me. They laugh hysterically because I stink so bad. They love seeing my Mario fall into pits of lava and everything. I'm not sure what that says about me, but boy, do they get a kick out of that. But we went to this arcade down actually at the Jersey Shore.
Oh, yeah.
And it had all the old school games, the Pac-Mans,
so
the
good.
Donkey Kongs. And they had up on a huge screen, this is one of the newfangled things they do, this game called Galaga. And they're like, Daddy, this looks like a cool game. You know how to play this, right? So we put the quarter in. And I mean, I got the high score times like 50. And I still remembered, it's like I had all those moments of the grease from the pizza. And just all of a sudden, I was right back there. And they started like cheering. They're like, Daddy, that's awesome. We didn't know you could play a video game. And I'm like, that's right, children.
You spent
Your daddy.
6 hours playing that once in the 80s. I don't know, but you were
That's right.
masterful
Really?
at that, and it carried over. I mean, it wasn't that long, but he
It's
knew
one of
some
those games.
secrets, some cheats on it.
Oh, I've heard of these.
And he would, this was before he could look them up on the interwebs.
Right.
I
You
mean,
had
so-
to bribe someone's cousin's brother.
All right, I love that. So, Jesse, how about you? What's a memory from the summer? I like that cheering. That's good.
We got to go to the Florida shore. You can't say Florida shore. It's only Jersey Shore, right?
I think so.
Okay.
I think
Florida beach. And my sister had recently purchased an Airbnb, and she let us have a week for free.
Wow.
And it was the kind of beach that we would probably not normally be able to go to in regular circumstances. It was like a private beach, kind of really nice, and
Like Von Ritzington? Kind of?
yeah, well, sort of. It was also on the Gulf. It was on the Gulf side, so it was a little bit more like secluded and almost like country.
Yeah.
But it was my youngest daughter's first time to experience the beach, and I was like,
wow.
this is such a great spot for you to see what the ocean is.
Wow.
That is way
That's
different than Jersey
fantastic.
Shore, my brother.
But
Yeah,
that
you
is
know
awesome.
That is a wonderful memory, man. Especially if it can be your youngster's first experience.
First time.
That's awesome.
For me, I had some great family memories this summer. I think for all of us as a family, we, as we're helping lead the On Eagles Wings team for the first time, we've led them a lot of times. As we're leading the On Eagles Wings team, we all got COVID for the first time. We're in this rental RV.
Oh.
We're managing being outside. Now,
How is this-
COVID
how
isn't the
is-
memory.
I was about to say, what kind of summer did you have if that's your best memory? I don't want to hear your worst.
No, here's the thing. It was what that meant was, and we were dealing with some cases with the On Eagles Wings team and everything, and we made our way through that time. But what we saw was how God provides. We were in situations where, because of hard-hit Native communities, we couldn't go in there yet and do our On Eagles Wings event. We got to them later in the month. But the reality is, every step of the way, we saw that God had gone before us. And even though we were tired, we were frustrated by it and everything else, we were just like, oh, wait, God did have a plan in this. And so he used us, even in that weakened state, to help make a difference in the lives of the On Eagles Wings team members, and then still gave the On Eagles Wings team a chance to make a difference in the community. So I would say it's not my most fun memory. There was a lot of frustration along the way, but it's what sticks out to me because of how God moved. And then just getting some first-time experiences with my kids after the summer in a really cool part of the country was awesome too.
And some amazing memories. I got to see some of that. I think most people listening know what On Eagles Wings is. If there's one or two of you who don't, it is just it's a Native American group of young people that go to other Native American communities and share Jesus, and it's an awesome thing. And I remember 30 years ago, just for the first time seeing so many young people come to the middle of the basketball court and say, I want Jesus in my life. And then seeing it again this year so many times. What awesome memories. We've got great memories from just these 20 episodes
We really
here.
do.
Yes.
One of my favorite episodes was when we had like kind of a news celebrity on. His name's Ethan Forhetz.
Oh, yeah.
He's got all these big YouTube videos and everything because he was such a great broadcaster, Springfield, Missouri. And we had this amazing episode that was called From News Anchor to Ambassador, How to Know You're Hearing God's Voice. And it was an amazing story, man. Anytime I hear about somebody that kind of leaves behind recognition and more money and things like that because they're hearing God's voice and they say, I have to go and obey because I know God is calling me to do this. And in this case, the Lord was calling Ethan and his wife to go into full-time ministry. It was amazing hearing how Ethan knew he was hearing God's voice.
Yeah, here's a quick clip of Ethan from that episode.
So we talked with our pastor and his wife about it. We sat down with them and just told them what we were thinking and got their thoughts on it, because it's always wise to seek instruction from those above you in the Lord. So we wanted their blessing on it and to know that they wouldn't have said, what are you doing? That's a huge mistake. You know what I mean? You don't want to do that. So we got that. And then we are huge believers in fasting and praying. So we did that over a weekend, a 3-day fast and prayer. And I can tell you that you don't get answers to things like you get answers whenever you fast and pray about it. There are some things that only come with fasting and praying, Jesus said. So that's a big part of our lives. Whenever we have a big decision to make, or we're going through a big crisis or struggle, fasting and praying quickens the answer. It brings it about in a much quicker pace, we have found. So after that, and after talking with our pastor, we just felt a peace about it. And that's what you look for. That's what you ask the Lord for. When the Lord gives you peace in such a major upheaval of your lives, that's when you know it's the right thing.
Yeah, that was a pretty amazing episode. I think we all were weren't expecting everything that he shared and everything, and for it to just even impact us the way it did. I'm wondering, Jesse, what's one that sticks out to you, a moment or an episode that really connected with you?
Wow, there's so many. I probably have to say the interview that y'all did with Huntley Brown.
Oh, yeah.
It was called Making a Big Impact for Jesus with Your Talents.
It's the mushrooms part, wasn't it?
Oh, well, see that.
Sorry.
You'll have to listen if you want to know what we're talking about.
I am the only one of Doug, Brad, or Huntley that appreciated mushrooms.
It's
and
true.
Mushrooms took a beating in that episode for sure.
People are like, how do you make a difference with mushrooms? What are you talking
And
about?
like,
You'll
you
have
don't.
to listen.
You really don't. No, and he did a better Louis Armstrong than Louis Armstrong
Oh,
pitch
my
for
Christ.
sure.
That was so good.
But anytime I get to see someone who has genuine joy and who actually seems so much to put into action what they believe, it seems to have almost a transformative effect on me where I go, I want to be like that. He didn't say at all, copy me, do what I do. There was something about the way he talked about Jesus and the way he was thankful and humble and so happy to be serving Jesus that made me go, oh, I want to be like that.
So much joy.
Same thing happened to me
exudes
just
joy.
while we were just listening to him talk. I go, that's what I want to be. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that stuck out to me this year as I'm thinking back, that we were impacted by these guests and by just when we didn't have a guest, the topics we were talking about. Because when we prepare for these and everything else, and we're listening to our guests, what they share, we're impacted by it. And one of those to me, I love the international side of things too, where we had someone a little more local in Ethan. We had Huntley, who's from Jamaica originally, and then we talked to Samaritan's Purse.
Yeah.
And that Ukraine episode really got to me. I remember still choking up during it because of what they were sharing about how Operation Christmas Child, how things from there were impacting children now who were dealing with the crisis in Ukraine, and the difference that Samaritan's Purse was making, and that we each can have a part in doing things for these, even if we can't go to Ukraine, can't travel internationally or whatever, that we can play a part. So that conversation to me really impacted me, and I think upped my prayer game for Ukraine and international need as well.
That's what I loved about that episode and those guests were that it wasn't just great to hear about what they were doing in Ukraine, but you were hearing what you could do personally, regardless of where, like you said, Brad, wherever you go, whatever's going on in your life. I heard a few things during that episode where I went, man, I can put that to work in this relationship, in this part of my life. I love that episode.
Can I give one other one of the things that sticks out to me, this actually isn't just a specific episode. It ties into several. I love that you mentioned joy, Jesse. I love that as we're talking around the table together, having Dad on, whether it was Ted Cunningham talking about a Make a Difference marriage, when we had our wives on, Doug, as far as being able to have Anna and Sarah on and be able to have some fun around Christmas and everything. I love that we have had a lot of joy and laughter while also talking about serious things. Jesus models joy for us. He models being able to live life to the full. And so to be able to look at even serious things and still have the joy of the Lord present, that's been something that I have loved, being consistent in so many of the episodes this year.
And Jesse and I still have something we have to work out because he never did end up editing out the secrets that Anna was telling about me on that show. Thankfully, I haven't gotten any blackmail messages from it yet. But I loved our Lightyear and Beyond episode. We call it Steps to Guarding Our Children's Hearts in Today's World. And, you remember that something came out in the Buzz Lightyear movie where we went, oh man, as a believer, should my child watch this? And if so, how and what can I do about it? And if not, how do I explain that? But I appreciated how we were able to go beyond that one episode and talk about, man, we are living in a culture where so much garbage is out there, and it doesn't matter how young your child is. All they have to do is look around a little bit, and unless they're living in a bubble or you keep them locked in their room, they're gonna see this kind of stuff. Yeah. They're gonna experience it. So how, as a father, how as a mother, or just someone that maybe you, an uncle or an aunt, but you've got some impact, some influence with young people, and man, this stuff can't be good for them. So how do I handle it? What do we do? Just practical steps to know how we can make a difference in our children's lives. And I like how we were able to go there this first season where we're not just talking about in our peers' life, how can we make a difference there, but how can we make a difference in young people's lives? We've talked about teenagers and younger people. And because as adults, as believers, we've got a responsibility to make an impact, make a difference with each of them.
Here's a quick clip from Lightyear and Beyond.
I'm going back to our dear old awesome mom on this. She would say, Doug, don't always trust the rating. She said, sometimes rated G, the G can stand for garbage.
Oh, Mom.
And the PG can stand for pure garbage. I was like, oh my goodness.
Wow, I forgot that quotable.
Yeah, it's so true. So because there can, even if there's not a lot of swear words, there can be some ideas in there that are really sketchy.
So you're saying we should, as we're doing our research, use wisdom and good judgment. That is not just, hey, G means good, but I like that
Yes.
We need to use wisdom and good judgment rooted in prayer and God's word, that you are using wisdom to say, this is okay for my children and this is not.
Here's another one. If you're going to say no to something, try to replace it with a yes. There are so many good alternatives out there, and it doesn't have to even be something that's labeled a Christian movie. Maybe there's a movie you've seen in your past that your kids aren't aware of, or a TV show, and you know that it has some wonderful things to talk about, wonderful things to jump off of, to talk about scripturally. So make a suggestion where you replace it with something rather than just taking something away.
Lightyear was one of our most downloaded episodes too, and I think it's because it is something that people are trying to figure out, how do I navigate this kind of entertainment world we live in?
On that note of helping your kids with practical steps, the last episode we did with Ron Hutchcraft, Back to School, Equipping Your Young Person to M.A.D. or to Make a Difference, that was really helpful for me because Ron is able to take a big topic like making a difference at school and individualize it for each of your kids, because my kids are so different. He really helped me see, like, not everyone will make a difference in the same way. My older daughter, my middle daughter, my younger daughter, they're all different. They will all have different ways that they can make a difference in the lives of their peers.
I think that's so good because I even watched the different personalities in our children and our 3 children that, you know, the way they make a difference. Yes, it's different from each other, but they do that.
Yeah, and here's Ron from the episode Back to School.
It's not just about praying with people. That's not the only option. If there's something you like about a friend, tell them. Just tell them that I really like the way you listen to people. I really like the way you're so generous. You know, just keep your stuff, but you like to give things to people. I like the way that you are kind to people. Tell them. People are starved to find out what's right with them because everybody tells you what's wrong with you. Your nose, your shoes, your hair, something is wrong with you. You're too tall, you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too whatever. So if you are the one who tells them nice things about themselves, listens to them when they are sad and when they're hurting, I don't think we understand the gift we give people when we just listen. And the Bible says, be quick to listen. How many people obey that? And slow to speak.
And that's what we want to do here. We want to make sure that as we wrap up season 1 and get ready in just a few short weeks to launch season 2 at the end of September.
What a season 2 that's going to be.
Well, it is. And what we want to do is we want to bring with us that same mentality of we want to help give you practical steps. That's one of the reasons I loved having Wes and Nick on different episodes. These Native American young men who are leading the way and who are so open sharing their story. That's one thing we hope has come across this year is we all have a story to tell. I learned that this year again, that there are parts of my story that I kind of have held back on that I needed to share, even within my household, that I needed to share different parts of it because we all have these stories that can help others. And to have Nick and Wes share their stories and then say, and you can do it too. We all can do that, starting in our homes, starting with our spouses, with our children, and then to take that out to the world around us. Because again, people, they may want to argue with who they think God is, who they think Jesus is, all these different things. They can't argue with your story and the difference that Jesus has made in your life.
Can't argue with your story, can't argue with you loving them unconditionally.
That's right.
As we talk in retrospect, I feel like the more I say that word, the smarter I sound.
I don't know if just too retrospect. I don't think that's
retrospect. Okay, I'm going to look it up later.
We'll have our editors look
it.
into that.
Please do. We're getting excited about season 2. Some guests that we're going to have coming on. We've got some surprises, few changes here and there. So as you're getting excited for season 2, we hope you'll take a listen. If you missed any of these episodes, we talked about people's pasts and social media and moms and Gen Z, and if you've got a college student in your life, how to respond when there's a tragedy going on around you.
Man, we covered a lot of ground in just 20 episodes.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And so we hope you'll take a listen to those. We hope you'll join us as we're going to relaunch things, at the end of September?
End of September, and now's also a great stretch to seriously share this with your friends. There's a lot that they could catch up on, listen to, and everything else. I just saw someone ask the other day, they're like, I'm going on a road trip. What's a good podcast I could listen to?
Oh, yeah.
You could recommend this to friends and share this with them so that they can make a difference as well. So, yeah, that we are excited to see what God has in store next. But yes, we will be back full strength, ready to go for season 2 of Go M.A.D with Doug and Brad. And we'll be back right at the end of September. So don't miss out. Tune in. And between now and then, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Go drop us a review. That would be awesome to hear from you.
Makes a big difference.
Shoot us an email. But until then, from all of us to all of you,
Go
mad!